There's no better days than launch days, and today is one of those days. We're really excited to introduce to you OneHome IoT Gateway. This device is specifically tailored to people that work with KNX. Why? Because people that work with KNX are used to a certain workflow, which includes ETS and group addresses. And we wanted to develop a device that would enable you to bring IoT devices via Matter and use them natively with KNX devices such as push buttons, actuators, sensors, touchpads, visualization servers, without having to change the workflow too much. What this means is that you can assign group addresses to smart lights like Philips Hue, smart remotes like this IKEA Somrig button, IoT relays like this Shelly or Sonoff, smart locks like this Nuki smart lock, smart blinds like this Somfy I've got here, and use them as they would be KNX devices in ETS with group addresses. This opens up a lot of possibilities. Let's go over a couple of them in this video. First, we'll control a KNX light with an IKEA remote control. Then we'll go over how to control a Philips Hue light from a KNX push button. We'll do the same for a Nuki door lock, also to control it from a KNX push button. And in the end, we'll also show you how to use a KNX visualization app to control all of these Matter devices. And if you stick to the end, we also have a fun little bonus for you. Okay, so let's start with the first use case, controlling a KNX light with an IKEA remote control. First, we have to open the OneHome dashboard. Here I already have configured some of the Matter devices before, but for this IKEA device, let's go to Add Device. And now we're presented with two options. Because this remote control works through an IKEA Dirigera hub, we will integrate this hub to OneHome. And because this hub is connected via Ethernet, it's already in our same local network, we can use this option. If you would have a device that uses Thread or is Wi-Fi, you could click on the device is new, and here you're then presented with a QR code, you scan it, and then you use the OneHome mobile app to connect this device to the OneHome dashboard. But let's go back, we'll use the second option, the device is connected to another ecosystem. And now here we have to input the manual Matter pairing code, which for IKEA, for Dirigera, I get from the IKEA app. I will now input this code and we'll add the device. There we go. Now we see all of the devices that are connected to this IKEA Dirigera hub. We can leave them as they are, click on Done, and now they're in the OneHome dashboard. Okay, the next step is to map this device to KNX. Let's go to Integrations. Here under KNX, let's click on Configure. Here we go under Bridge Devices to KNX, click on Configure again. And now we add the device. Now we said that we want to use this IKEA remote control to control a KNX light. So let's go to the room where our IKEA devices are and let's select the right buttons. Now I know that this remote control uses buttons 5 and 6. So let's use button 5, click Create. So now that we added the button 5, we can see what we can do with it in terms of group addresses. So for this use case, we have a toggle set, group object, and toggle status. But we can also, as in ETS, configure different parameters for this device. So if you click on this, now the function is toggle, but we also can do one button dimming, one button shutters, or we can also send a specific value to the KNX bus. So for example, on a short press, we could send a specific SIN number to KNX. On long press, we could do something else. But for our use case, we're okay with the toggle parameter. And because we want to control a KNX light with this remote, I already configured a switching actuator in ETS, as we see here. And now all we have to do is basically map these group addresses in OneHome dashboard. So we go to add group address. Now we could write these group addresses manually, but what's even easier is if we go to the search icon, we have here an option to upload the ETS file. As you can see, I already did that because my group addresses are showing up. But if you haven't done that yet, you can upload the ETS file and then all of the group addresses show up, and it's much easier for you to map these group addresses to your Matter devices. So for my example now, I can just click on the first group address, save it, and then do for the second one the same. Now the mapping is complete and we can enjoy controlling our KNX Lite with our IKEA remote control. There we go. Simple as that. Now let's try it the other way. Let's control a Philips Hue light with a KNX push button. I have already integrated the Hue light to OneHome IoT Gateway. Now let's go again to integrations, configure. Let's configure bridge devices to KNX. Let's add the device, select the device, and let's select Hue light. Create, and let's see what options do we have. So as we see, these are all the group objects that we can assign group addresses to. Back in ETS, I have already set up the group addresses for the Hue light, and I have already also assigned them to the MDT push button. Now all I have to do is map these group addresses to the Philips Hue light in OneHome. So let's do that. Let's map the on-off group address. Again, we go to search, and now we can also search. We can input Hue, and we have all the relevant group addresses here. We click on this, we save it. Let's go to status. We also have a nifty feature, previous, which is like a history of recent searches. I can just click on Hue, and again, I get all the relevant group addresses. Click on status, save that. One important thing to note is also that you can map multiple group addresses to your Matter devices. So in this example, we have an on-off stat group address, but we could also map, let's say, all lights off group address. This way you have multiple options to control your device. And now that we have mapped all the group addresses, let's test it out. If we wake our MDT push button, we see here on top, we have the Philips Hue light on 100%. We can turn it on and off with a press of a button. And then we can dim it also. If we hold down, we see it dims to 51%. If we let go and then hold again, we can dim it up. And that's how you control a Philips Hue light with an MDT push button, using only group addresses and the sprinkle of OneHome, of course. Let's continue. Let's control a Nuki smart lock with a KNX push button. Again, I have imported the Nuki door lock to OneHome already. Let's go back to integrations, KNX configure, bridge devices to KNX, and let's add the device, which is Nuki door lock. Now again, we can see what group addresses we can assign to this device. We see we can have the lock unlock and lock unlock status. If you go back to ETS, as we see, we have set up the group addresses for Nuki lock, and we have also linked it to the MDT push button. Now we map these group addresses in OneHome and we'll have a working connection. So again, we added the group address, we use our search feature, Nuki, lock set, save, Let's do it again. We have our history, click on it, click on status, save, save. The process is really simple and also really fast. And now the connection is complete. Let's see how it works. Let's wake our MDT push button. Here we have the lock icon. When we click it, the Nuki lock locks. Let's unlock it again. Click again. It's really satisfying. And for the last example, we have to talk about visualization. The first and best option is, of course, the One Home Server KNX Pro, our flagship product. It also includes this new IoT gateway feature, but the important thing is that the visualization is set up without additional work. Once you set up Matter devices in One Home, they instantly show up in the One Home mobile app with no extra steps. However, if you want to use another KNX visualization, we're not keeping you from that. Let's look at example at using the Gira Smart Home app. Of course, in order for this to work, you have to do the additional steps of configuring the group addresses also on the Gira side, on Gira X1. But in the end, you're left with this. As we see, for this example, we have a KNX light in the app, a Nuki lock, and a Hue light. So if we go to the Hue light, we see we can turn it off, we can turn it on, we can also dim it. Everything works as it's supposed to. If we go to the Nuki lock, we can operate it instantly, no problem. And of course, same is with the KNX light, that's nothing special. Turn it on, turn it off. Congratulations, you have now accessed the bonus tip of this video. Because of the way we developed IoT Gateway, you can also control a Matter and another Matter device with group addresses. Here's how you can do that. So let's say that we want to control a Hue light with our IKEA remote. Here we already have this button 5, the IKEA remote control that we configured before, and also the Hue light. But now let's change the configuration in the way that this IKEA remote control will control the Hue light with the help of group addresses. Let's expand both of these. And then let's change the parameters of our IKEA button from toggle to one button dimming. Click Save. And now, of course, we get a new set of options. And now we just have to copy the relevant group addresses for the Hue light to the IKEA button. We save, and now we're able to control two Matter devices with the help of group addresses. If we now click the button, the light turns off, click it again, the light turns on. If we hold the button, the light dims. We let go and we hold it again, the light dims up. We are really excited about One Home IoT Gateway and what it brings to the KNX market. We are sure you'll love it too, and for that reason, we have prepared some special offers for the launch of this device. And I'd advise you to be quick, because these offers will not last forever. As always, thank you so much for watching, and let us know in the comments, how will you use One Home IoT Gateway? What Matter devices will you be using with KNX? We're excited for your opinion, and we'll see you next time.